Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales Team. Be walking you through your 2026 Rpod 194. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you're pre-mounted for an observation camera as well as a lipper collapsible stair system. Both are going to be great additions to your camper. If you'd like to get set up with either of those, you can just contact your parts department. They'd be more than happy to put together a quote for you. You got your spare tire located right at the back. And then right down below that spare tire, you do get that 2-inch receiver. Just keep it in mind, there's definitely some weight capacities when you are using it. It's good for about 250 pounds. Even 250 pounds is quite a bit. So you're realistically, it's just good for a bike rack. And again, just keep in mind how many bikes you put on there, because they do add up pretty quickly. Coming around to this side, we will start up top on the driver's side. You got your black tank flush. So the way that works is if you're noticing false monitor panel readings inside or just an odor around the unit, it's also good to flush that tank out once every couple of uses, just to keep things out a little bit fresher. It's just very important you do read the caution stickers, just letting you know that you do have to have the sewer hose connected and the black tank valve open. The reason being, if you're pushing pressure inside of that tank and that pressure has got nowhere to go, it could expand that tank to the point of cracking. You got your main 30 amp twist lock connection. You just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Once you line those guys up, 8th turn to lock it in. Get that threaded collar, really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. A lot of campsites should have this, you can plug right on in, but let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has a standard 15 amp outlet, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that adapter for you. Just keep in mind whenever you are using it, you're going down in power, right? So you're not going to be able to run your air conditioner. It's realistically just to run your fridge and your lights. In this corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you got stabilizer jacks. Hook up your 3/4 inch drive tool to the 3/4 inch drive net. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot does contact the ground, just give me another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see having the unit right now away. In that back corner, you get these 2 valves. They're your low point drains. That's just to drain most of the water out of the lines. It's a good idea to crack those whenever you're done the winterization process if you're doing it yourself. Got your cable satellite outlet, and then of course coming to your sewer outlet, taking that cap, twisting it off, just taking note of those ears, same ears your sewer hose is going to have, and they just lock onto this like so and click and lock into place. You got your black valve and your gray valve. You always want to empty your black valve first. This is your dirtiest water filled from toilets. Then you can come behind that with your gray valve. Just typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. It's just helping keep that hose that little bit cleaner. Coming a little further down the unit. Furnace, your main furnace area here for the water heater. You got that power switch right there. You're going to want to make sure that that's turned on whenever you're wanting the system in use. It supplies power to the thermostat inside. And then you got your pressure relief right down there at the bottom. Now, if you had a camper before and you did the winterization yourself, you probably remember having bypass valves because you didn't want any antifreeze going into your hot water tank. This system is the complete opposite. There's no bypass valves behind it. You do want to run antifreeze through it, and then once you're done your winterization process completely, you want to crack that pressure relief valve and leave it cracked open for the duration of winter, so that way once that antifreeze does start expanding, it has a place to go. Get a fresh water inlet here, so if you're out boondocking or your campsite doesn't have water, this is how you can fill up that fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And then right down below it, you got your city water connection. So if you're out of site for service, throw the garden hose in there, turn it on. Pressurizes all those lines without the need to run your water pump. Fresh tank drain right down there at the bottom. Inside this front compartment is where you're going to find your standard starter kit. It's going to come with a simple 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, some other miscellaneous goodies, including that 15 amp park adapter. And then a little addition inside this compartment, you got this false panel. Take the 2 screws out holding it in. It's going to allow it to then be removed out of place, and that's where you get access to your water pump for winterization. Around the front of the unit, you got your battery disconnect switch right on the front frame. With it in the on position, the batteries are connected. With it to the off position, the batteries become disconnected. You got the 2 batteries right up front here. This customer opted to go with lithiums. The best of the best for this guy. That's where we store those. Right up front, you got your 1 propane tank. Works pretty standard. Loosen off this tab, flip it out of the way, flip that cover back. You'll be able to get access to the top of your tank, and it's just counterclockwise, like any standard barbecue, to open up the flow of propane. Now, if you wanted to get this cover right off, you just have to remove the wing nut right off the front here, and then you'd be able to slide that tank completely out of the way. Coming around to this side, to the other side of your storage compartment, and inside on this side, that's where you're going to find your griddle, as well as a little placeable table. It's going to connect at the back of the unit. So we'll pull that off and go over there now. So you got this little accessory bar on the side of the trailer. This guy just clicks in, locks in like so. You're locked into place. There's going to be an additional little table that you can connect that goes right beside it. Hooks up the same way. Get your propane quick connect line. Pull back on the collar. It's going to allow you to pull that out of place. Whenever you're not using this line, it's always a good idea to either have your dust caps on or have it connected into itself, so that way you're not getting any debris inside. And then to hook it up, you're just pulling back on the collar again. I like to hold the regulator while I do insert it into place. That way you're not putting any excess force onto it. And once it locks into place, you're good to go, opening up your flow of propane. Follow this line down. Come to this end. I've already removed the dust cap, but you're always going to want to make sure that is in place whenever you use it, not using the system. This end works the same way. Opening up the flow of propane now is an added safety feature. You can't operate either coupler with the flow of propane open. You would have to close it, and you'd be ready to fire up that griddle. Now, in addition to that, right back here, you do have a little exterior sort of shower deal. Got this little sprayer, hooks up inside this little flapper. Pull down on the flat, pull it towards you. It's gonna pop down. You can then take your end. You got notches on either side. Lines up the notches on this side. Push, insert, twist, and lock into place. Hot and cold sprayable water. This end is just your standard garden hose end. So if you ever did break this hose end, you could just buy any garden hose handle. It does thread on there. Especially if you have one of preference that you wanted to put on, you could do that. Now the last kind of additional note for outside here is going to be this range hood flap. Whenever you get to your campsite, you're going to want to make sure you unsnap it out of place. That way you can evacuate those fumes as you're making them. But making sure you try and remember to snap it back into place, as that's going to stop any excess dust from getting inside the unit during travel. Now to get inside, you're taking that assist handle, pushing it up, holding it 90 degrees. It's going to lock into place. That will then allow you to open up your door. Now you do have to have your door open all the way to get your stairs down. You got adjustable feet, so you can push in the tabs. Feet will slide up and down into the tracks. You don't want it just nice and level. And so that this crease here sits as close to that bottom plate as possible, so the door can close nice and easily. Now, just an extra note right now, with this door all the way open, take note that you do come into contact with that awning arm. So before you ever run your awning, you want to make sure you have that door closed 90 degrees. That way it can travel freely. You're not going to cause any damage or anything like that. And now, taking a step on inside, first thing you notice off on the right is that fire extinguisher, which is just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Up on the wall, these first set of lights, you turn on your inside main living lights, and then you got a porch light and an awning LED light as well. And then you get your awning button, push the extend button, awning starts rolling its way out. You're gonna know the awning's at its full extension when you see the back of the middle tube and the little flap hang down. Sometimes that flap can get stuck, so you might just have to retract it a couple feet and then try putting it back out again for it to come down. Always making sure you do keep an eye on the wind speeds. And there you go, you get that flap at the back of the middle tube, so you're at the full extensions. Whenever you have this awning out, you're always going to want to make sure you keep an eye on the wind speeds. Once they start picking up, you're going to make sure you don't want to bring this in. That way you don't run the risk of bending or ripping anything. It gets pretty costly pretty quick. Now for a start ready, you can take any arm, front or rear, unclip it, push it in towards the trailer, clamp it back into place, changes the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to now run off. Now if you like that angle better, because it's going to allow for more shade underneath, you can do the same thing with the front arm. Just make sure that before you ever try to run the awning in, you make sure you let both arms back to their natural resting position. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. If you ever have to bring that awning in, because while it's wet, it's not the end of the world, but just try and remember at your next earliest convenience that you do run it back out and allow it time to dry off. That way you're not accelerating the growth of mold and mildew. And then to retract it, it's as simple as pushing the retract button. The awning will start rolling its way in, and once the arms do contact the side of the trailer, the motors will automatically cut out. I'm not going to bore you with that though. up here, you get your stereo control. Push the button, turns itself on. It is Bluetooth. It's the only way. That's the only way you're going to be able to play any sound or any music out of here is through your phone. There isn't any stereo, FM stereo on this guy. So keep that in mind. You got A speakers, which is your interior speakers, B speakers, which is your exterior speakers. Down below, you got your solar controller. I'm going to recommend going over the owner's manual for playing around with any settings with that. But it is currently set up for your basic charging needs. If there's sun outside hitting that panel, it's going to be applying a charge to your 2 front batteries. And down from there, you get your monitor panel system. Push the tank you want to read or the battery. It's going to tell you the corresponding level on the left. Water pump switch, and that is what draws out of your fresh tank. Self-explanatory. Water heater switch. So this is going to be the thermostat for your water heater. To turn it on, you do also have to turn on that switch there. And that's going to be how I recommend turning it on and or off. It's just the easiest, simplest way. At that point, then you can hit that button. You can go up or down at any time to change your set temperature, Celsius and Fahrenheit, with the press of a button. And then right off the bat, you're locked to 51 degrees Celsius. That's just an added safety feature so that kids can't scald their hands. If you push and hold the up button for 5 seconds, it will let you go up another 5 degrees. Now, because this is a tankless system and not a tank system, it does work a little bit differently. The way you're going to want to set that temperature is at what you find the perfect hot water temperature without having to blend the cold. This system likes being ran on just the hot with no cold running, and that's the way it runs the most efficient. So if you prefer the water at 42, that's where you're going to want to set that and leave it, so that way you only have to have the hot running and you don't have to turn the cold on at all. That's going to be that for this wall here, right at the front. You got your little bedroom space. You also get your TV on the wall. Plugins up top. You're going to notice this little black button here. Because this customer opted to go with the WineGuard Gateway Wi-Fi extender system, you always have to make sure that you have this button on whenever you want this guy working. If this button isn't on with that green light on, your WineGuard system isn't going to be working because the antenna will be off on the roof. Now, this does draw battery power though, so whenever you're not using it, I do recommend turning it off. Gateway system right above your head. It's pretty much always on whenever that's on. And to get your SIM card in there, you're just pulling down on the tab. It's going to allow you to slide this out of place, and then at the back, there'll be a little slot for your SIM card to go in. There's currently a blank one inside of it now, but that's not going to do you very good. It will act as a Wi-Fi extender right now, but it will not put out its own Wi-Fi signal without that SIM card. So you probably would have to contact WineGuard to get that set up. I am not 100% sure on that, so that's going to be a great question for our parts department. They'll know more about that. You got all your central vac tools inside this bag here. All the blinds you need are going to work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. One quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Now right at the front, you're going to notice you got that big window. Really cool window that Rpod did this year. The last couple of years actually. But if you undo the red tabs, that'll allow the front window to swing out of place. At that point, you got these struts on either side. You will have to tighten both of them so that the window can hold its own. And now you're probably thinking, great, I get an awesome breeze inside of here, but what about the bugs? They already had that covered. They got a little bug screen that can snap on up. So that way you can leave that open, get the breeze inside without the bugs. And then let's say it's coming down to nighttime, you're trying to sleep in the morning, you don't want the sun coming through. Pulling down on the top one will bring you down the sunshade so that you're not getting any sun inside of here. On that wall there is going to be the fire exit. Pulling the red tab, the screen's going to pop right out of place. You can then pick up the handle, push it out, hop on out of the unit, hopefully going feet first. But if there is a fire, just try and get out as soon as possible. You got plugins all around up the bed there, USB, USB-C, as well as a couple regular 120 plugs coming around. You got tons of storage throughout this unit whenever you are using any of the storage in here. Just always, of course, being mindful of drains, water lines, and wiring. You're not going to be wanting to affect any of that while you're piling your things in there. Up above my head, you got your AC output. You can close this vent a little bit if you wanted to. And then you got these tabs. If you pull in this tab, this is where it sucks all its intake air from. There's this little black screen inside of here. It's going to get dusty over time. It's always going to be a good idea to give it a blow with some compressed air, of course, with it off the air conditioner. just to keep flow that much better and just to keep the air a little bit fresher. You got your dinette area here. This also does turn down into a bed. You're just having to remove the feet from underneath the table, set the tabletop on its desired ledges. Then you can take your back cushions to fill in the center in case you would have any sort of extra guests. You got your furnace output right here. It's going to put all its air out of here. So that's what that is. Fridge, freezer combo. They do have travel locks, so you have to push in and pull towards you to open them up. Once they are open, right up top, you got all your fridge controls. Right down below, you got all your freezer controls. Now, with it at its coldest setting, that's also going to be the setting that you want to put it on if you want it to get cold fast. Let's say your significant other told you to turn the fridge on the night before because you were going on a trip, you totally forgot. You remember in the morning, just turning it to its coldest setting, that's going to be what allows the fridge to operate the fastest. But you're going to notice a little off-grid writing here. That's just going to let you know the most energy efficient setting to have it on if you're running off battery power. Push and hold the power button for 3 seconds to turn it on or off. Now down below, you got your central vac system. That's pretty self-explanatory. Pulling on this tab, pull it towards you. That's where you get access to that bag. We do sell more here at the shop in case you fill that one up pretty quick. But whenever you are putting it in, make sure that you not only have the front section on, but they're also the rear section. The front section is going to be for your central vac tool. The rear section is going to be for your little dustpan system. Whenever you're using the dustpan system, just keep it in mind it's just built for grass, dust, gravel, dirt. It's not really meant for big rocks or sticks or anything, especially because it's getting sucked into a bag. Power button to turn it on and off. But if you're using the dustpan, you just have to pull it up and it automatically turns on. Right beside that, you do get your main fuse and breaker panel. Whenever a breaker trips, it'll sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Then you got all your corresponding fuses on the right. Coming a little bit further ahead, kitchen area, microwave down below, pretty much self-explanatory. You got your range hood. I'm always going to recommend running that range hood whenever you're running your stove. That way you're evacuating those propane fumes. And since we're talking about propane fumes, you got your LP detector right here near the ground. If that guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit, open up some windows and vents, and get some fresh oxygen inside of here. Now coming to your stove, we're going to go over a few propane notes first. Whenever you turn the bottle off the front or disconnect it, it does allow air into the system. Once air makes its way in, it does have to be purged out. Quickest, easiest way to do that is going to be by using your stove, because you get to decide how long the gas valve is open for and how many sequences you try and fire it for. If you go to try to fire up your furnace or your water heater, those will only try lighting themselves a couple times before they'll throw a no flame code at you, and if you don't know what that code is, it could throw a little frustration into your weekend. So again, just come here. It's going to be a quick, easy way to just double check that the system's purged. That way everything gets propane right away and doesn't cause you any grief. This little button here is going to turn on some illumination knobs. And now, because this is a gas stove, you're always going to want to make sure that you're being extremely safe while using it. And the reason I say that is if you run this gas valve on, you're going to see it came out pretty quickly today. Sometimes it can take a few minutes before you're going to get gas out of there. Now you're going to know you're being safe is as long as you have this gas valve on and you can hear the sparker going and you see the little electrode making that zap, you're okay, because once gas starts coming through, it's going to light right away. If you don't hear that zapping or see the zapping, there could be a problem. And if you had a buildup of gas and then a random combustion source, it's going to cause a small combustion. If you have your face nearby, there's a chance you could lose some eyebrows and eyelashes. All jokes aside, it is a possibility. So just make sure you are safe whenever you're using it. If you have the gas, if you've had the gas on and you're not seeing any sort of zapping or anything going on, turn it off. Turn on your range hood. Give it a few minutes to suck up whatever buildup of gases there possibly could have been, and then just try it again. Like I said, it's not a big deal. It is just something to keep in mind whenever you are using it. In the back corner here, they got something cool that I thought they included, is a little extendable power bar station. It's even got USB-C again. And then it sucks back into the counter whenever you're not using it. Sink. The sink does come with this nice little cutting board that actually fits over top of it in case you were to store something in there. cover it up. And they do hang that on the wall. Again, tons of storage all throughout. And then back to this wall here, you're gonna get your thermostat. It works pretty simple. Push and hold the button, turns itself on. It's gonna do your last known setting. So in this case, it isn't too cool. So at this point, you're gonna be moving around. You're gonna be using the air conditioner. It's on cool, and we do have that fan setting in automatic. Now, whenever you are in automatic, it turns the system into an on-demand system. So if the room is set to 71, and it is 71 inside of here, it's not going to leave that air conditioner running for no reason. If you were to have that fan setting on either the high or low setting, the fan does run continuously on the air conditioner regardless of what you have the room set to. So just keep that in mind. And then when it comes time to firing up your furnace, again, you have to have that fan setting in automatic, because if you don't, when you go to fire up your furnace, your air conditioner is going to stay running, and at that point you're just defeating the purpose. So I always recommend just leaving it in the automatic setting. It's going to choose the best fan setting depending on what the room is at anyways, but it will be a personal preference thing, totally up to you. Pushing the power button one more time, it's also the mode button. That's going to psych you off the air conditioner and onto the furnace. Furnace only has one fan setting. It moves all its air through the one output I showed you there, and it runs off propane. So again, it's going to be important that you have your propane on and the system purged before you try and run it. One more time, that's going to take you off propane and put you onto the fan mode. That's just moving air around with the air conditioner, no heating or cooling involved. One more time, we'll bring you over to dry. That's just a dehumidifying mode, so it's going to try and take as much moisture out of the air as possible using the air conditioner. And then one more time, we'll cycle you back over to cool where we started. And then you can just push and hold the button and it turns itself off. Now, last but not least, you do come to the bathroom. It's a really nice bathroom. You got two different lights. You got what I call the selfie light, which turns on a little backlight behind the mirror, or you got the main light, which turns on the main living lights. You got your main GFI plug here on the wall. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd check. You got reset up top, test down below. 65% of the plugs are going to be ran through this GFI. Sometimes they can trip for the weirdest reasons. So again, if you plug into something, you notice it's not turning on, just double check that this isn't tripped. It's just a quick, easy way to problem solve. Other than that, pretty standard bathroom. And then above my head, of course, you're going to come to your vent lid, pull down on it to unlock it. Then you can turn it clockwise to open it up. Once we do get that guy opened up, if you were to forget that open while traveling, there is the risk that you run damaging it. And then, of course, if it were to start raining, it's going to get wet inside of here. We do sell max air covers here at the shop. It's a little cover that's going to go over top of this vent. It's going to allow you to leave that open during travel and not have to worry about it. It's also going to stop water from getting inside of here. It's going to be a great little addition for your camper. And again, our parts department is going to be more than happy to put together a quote for you if you wanted to get one installed. And a little extra, it is going to defend you a little bit better against hail. Hopefully you never have to come across that. But if hail were to puncture this lid and it's raining, it's going to get wet inside of here. But if you got that cover on there, at least you get that little extra layer of protection. Again, just contact your parts department if you'd like to get set up with that. You got your fan settings in that one corner there. The first setting is the slowest setting, the fourth setting is the fastest setting, and then you got the off button to turn it off, of course. And that is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.